Most of what you believe about discipline is wrong. You are not lazy. You are untrained. Nobody ever handed you the blueprint. You scroll when you should sleep. You react when you should reflect. You drift when you should decide. Small surrenders every single day that feel like nothing in the moment, but they compound into everything over time. Here's the biggest misconception people carry into a video like this. They think change requires some dramatic personality overhaul. It doesn't. It requires 21 small decisions repeated on ordinary days that nobody is filming. And here's the quiet fear underneath all of it. The one nobody says out loud in the comments. What if I'm already too far behind to change? You're not. 2,000 years ago, 3 very different men figured out the blueprint nobody gave you. An emperor who ran a crumbling empire during plague and endless war. A former slave who taught freedom from inside a body that was never free. A wealthy statesman who found peace while waiting to hear if a tyrant would order his death. None of them were born calm. They built it, piece by piece, choice by choice. On ordinary days, nobody was filming. Here's what most people get wrong about that word stoic. They picture someone cold, numb, standing still while the world burns. That's not it. Real stoicism is feeling everything completely and still choosing well. Some of you will watch this and feel a little exposed. Good, that discomfort is the signal that something here is true for you. By the end of this video, you'll have 21 specific daily habits. Nothing vague, nothing theoretical, just what to actually do, starting this morning. Morning habits first, then habits for the middle of your day, then the habits that close it out at night. By the time we reach the last one, you'll see exactly how all 21 connect into a single daily system. Let's begin with habit 1. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings by expecting friction. People who would be difficult, plans that would break in front of him. He wasn't being negative. He was loading armor before the battle even began. Most of us assume smooth roads and easy people. Then the first obstacle lands and it feels personal. Try this before you touch your phone tomorrow. 2 minutes. Picture the meeting going sideways. Picture the traffic stacking up. Picture someone letting you down again. Now when it actually happens, you don't spiral. You nod. You already knew this might come. Shock is what breaks people, not the difficulty itself. The Stoics called this premeditation. Put the armor on before you leave the house. Think about the last time something small ruined your entire afternoon. A rude email, a cancelled plan. Chances are it wasn't the event itself that wrecked you. It was the surprise of it. The feeling that life broke some unspoken promise to be easy today. Rehearsal removes that false promise before it ever gets made. You walk out the door already braced, already steady, already ahead of the day instead of behind it. Habit 1 prepared you for the world outside you. This one is about the world inside you. Most people plan their to-do list first thing and skip a far more important question. Who am I choosing to be today? Patient or short-tempered? Present or scattered? Honest even when a small lie would be easier. You can't control whether your boss appreciates the work. You can control whether you showed up with integrity intact. Ask this one question before your feet hit the floor. It turns a random reactive day into a day you actually built on purpose. Notice the difference between the 2 habits so far. The first one braces you for what the world might throw at you. This one decides who shows up to catch it. Every interaction today becomes a small chance to practice the answer you gave yourself this morning. Small choices repeated enough times stop being choices at all. They become character. But the next habit is where Stoicism stops being comfortable. Seneca was extraordinarily wealthy, yet he deliberately practiced temporary discomfort. Some nights he slept on a hard floor and ate the plainest food he could find. Not because he loved suffering, he did it to prove something to himself in advance. That comfort was only ever a preference, never a requirement for his peace of mind. The modern equivalent isn't a Stoic ritual on its own, but it carries the same spirit. Try a cold shower this week. Skip your coffee one morning and notice how loud the craving actually is. Sit with a small discomfort instead of numbing it immediately. You're training a muscle most people never touch. The ability to be genuinely fine when conditions aren't perfect. Think about how fragile a life becomes when it depends entirely on perfect conditions. The exact temperature, the exact routine unbroken. That life is comfortable right up until it isn't. Small doses of discomfort chosen on purpose build a kind of quiet confidence that no achievement can buy you. Marcus Aurelius was deeply influenced by Epictetus. He returned to those ideas often to keep them sharp in his own mind. Wisdom fades quietly if you never refresh it. The noise of daily life drowns it out one notification at a time. Give yourself 5 undistracted minutes with something that actually elevates your thinking. 1 page, 1 passage, 1 idea worth sitting with slowly. Do this before headlines and messages get first access to your brain. Whoever arrives first in your mind each morning shapes everything that follows. You wouldn't expect your body to perform well on junk food alone. Your mind works exactly the same way. 5 minutes of something real is a small investment that compounds the same way money does. A page today, a page tomorrow. A year from now you've absorbed an entire library one quiet morning at a time. It shows in how you think. It shows in how you speak. It shows in how steady you feel when everyone else around you is panicking. The moment you wake and your hand reaches for that screen, you hand your attention to strangers, to algorithms built by people whose entire job is keeping you scrolling. The Stoics protected their attention like it was the only true possession they had. Because it was. Try 1 hour tomorrow with no phone at all after waking. Use it to move your body, to think clearly, to prepare. Your hand will drift toward the nightstand out of pure habit. Notice that reflex. It's not really about the phone. It's about noticing how much of your day used to be decided for you before you were even fully awake. Reclaiming that hour is reclaiming authorship over the entire day that follows it. So far, every habit has been about what you do with your morning. Now we go after something harder, what you do with your mind all day long. Mind to control, not mind to control. Your effort belongs to you. Your reaction in any given moment belongs entirely to you. Other people's opinions of you do not. The traffic does not. The economy does not. Anxiety grows precisely in the space where we keep trying to control things that were never ours. Catch yourself mid-worry sometime today. Ask the honest question, is this actually within my power? If it isn't, release it completely. If it is, stop worrying and act on it. This one practice alone can quietly dissolve most of the unnecessary suffering in an average week. Epictetus lived this before he ever taught it. He was born into slavery and had no say over most of his own life. Yet he became one of the freest thinkers in history, because he stopped fighting what was never his to command. Most anxiety in modern life comes from exactly this confusion, worrying about an email someone else hasn't answered yet, replaying a conversation you can no longer change. None of it was ever yours to control in the first place. And he poured every ounce of energy into the one thing that was always his own mind. That's the whole practice in a single sentence. Desire works the same way. Reaction works the same way. Attention works the same way. Every habit on this list eventually traces back to this one sorting exercise, noticing what's actually yours and putting the rest down. It sounds simple when you say it out loud. It's genuinely difficult to live kulor, which is exactly why it's worth practicing daily instead of understanding once and moving on. Every hard thing that lands on your plate carries a hidden invitation inside it. Traffic is an invitation to practice patience instead of rage. Sharp criticism is an invitation to practice humility instead of defensiveness. A sudden loss is an invitation to practice resilience you didn't know you had. Stop asking why this keeps happening to you. Start asking what it's training inside of you right now. A delayed flight teaches patience. A difficult client teaches composure. A slow season teaches resourcefulness. The obstacle was never blocking your path. The obstacle was quietly the path itself all along. Think about the strongest person you personally know. Chances are their strength didn't come from an easy stretch of life. It came from the exact stretch that nearly broke them, the job loss they didn't see coming, the relationship that ended without warning. They didn't get strong despite those things. They got strong because of how they chose to meet them. Your current obstacle is quietly doing the same work on you right now, whether you notice it or not. The only real question is whether you're paying attention to the lesson while it's happening. Habit 8. Picture losing what you already have. This one sounds dark until you actually try it. Picture your health gone for just a moment. Picture the people you love no longer near enough to touch. Now open your eyes and look around the room you're sitting in. Notice everything that is still here right now. This isn't about fear, it's gratitude with real teeth in it. People who practice this regularly stop sleepwalking through ordinary Tuesdays. Because ordinary Tuesdays stop feeling ordinary the moment you remember they were never guaranteed. Marcus Aurelius kept this thought close through years of plague sweeping his own household. He wasn't obsessed with death. He was obsessed with clarity. When you remember how temporary all of this actually is, the small argument stops mattering as much. What's left standing after that filter is usually the only stuff that ever truly mattered in the first place. Most people think Stoicism is about controlling anger after it hits. The next habit is what to do before it ever arrives. Someone says something sharp and pointed. Something breaks right in front of you. Your chest tightens. Right there, in that half second before you open your mouth, is the most powerful space you will ever own. Take 3 full breaths before you respond to anything that genuinely stings. Your first reaction is old programming running on autopilot. Your second reaction, the one that comes after the breath, is the version of you that you actually respect in the morning. Seneca wrote that we suffer far more often in imagination than we ever do in reality. 3 breaths costs you almost nothing. Skipping them has cost people entire relationships. The email sent in anger, the words you can't take back at the dinner table. Guard that small gap like it's the most valuable real estate you own. Because it is. Most regret in life doesn't come from what happened to us. It comes from how fast we responded before we'd actually thought anything through. The words you can't take back at a dinner table. The message sent the second the anger hit. 3 breaths would have cost nothing in either case. Attention is the one currency you can never fully earn back once it's spent. During a real conversation, actually be inside the conversation. Not planning your response, not half listening while your mind checks somewhere else. During a meal, Taste the food instead of drifting off into your thoughts. This is a different discipline than a quiet morning without a screen. This is about the people standing right in front of you. Think back to the last time someone gave you their full, undivided attention. It probably felt rare. That's the exact gift you can hand someone today. It costs nothing and it's remembered for years. A meeting where you actually listened. A dinner where nobody's mind was somewhere else. These small moments of presence add up to the reputation people quietly build for you: reliable, grounded, genuinely there. You start sounding remarkably like the people you talk to the most. Complainers make complaining feel completely normal. Disciplined people make discipline feel like the obvious default. This isn't about coldly cutting people off. It's about being honest with yourself about influence and proximity. Reach out today to one person who genuinely challenges you to think sharper, not someone who simply agrees with whatever you already believe. Look honestly at the group chat you check most. Notice the tone of it. Whatever lives in that chat has been quietly shaping your standards for longer than you probably realize. You don't need dramatic changes here. You need one new voice in the mix. Someone slightly ahead of where you are. Someone who makes your current effort look a little too comfortable. That mild discomfort is doing you a favor. You don't need to replace your whole circle overnight. You just need one person in the mix who quietly raises the bar without saying a word about it. So far we've talked about controlling your actions and your attention. Now we're going after something harder. Your desires. Every single day pick the one task you keep pushing to tomorrow. The hard conversation you've been rehearsing in your head for weeks. The workout on the day you feel most tired. Do it today. Discipline was never built in the big dramatic moments. It's built quietly in these small, unglamorous ones, repeated over and over, until doing hard things simply stops feeling hard. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they act. It rarely does on schedule. The people who actually get things done stopped waiting for it years ago. The task you're avoiding isn't punishment. It's the exact rep your character needs today. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the mornings he struggled to get out of bed just like anyone else. An emperor, still human enough to want the blanket over his head. He talked himself through it anyway, reminding himself what he was actually built for. You have that same conversation available to you every single morning. Nobody feels ready for the hard thing. Readiness was never the requirement. Starting was. Once this week, say no to something you genuinely want. Not as punishment, as proof. Proof to yourself that your cravings don't actually run your life. The people who feel the most free in this world are rarely the ones who get everything they want. They're the ones who could walk away from any of it without falling apart. Epictetus taught that freedom is won by letting go of what lies outside our control. Desire doesn't feel like something you're choosing. It feels like a fact. The moment you say no on purpose, you prove that feeling was only ever a suggestion. This is the uncomfortable habit on the list. That's exactly why it belongs here. Quietly support a coworker who's struggling. Tell no one. There's a strange freedom in doing good with zero audience watching. You stop performing kindness for approval and start practicing it simply because it's who you are now. Quick reset before we go further. The next few habits are about your words, your promises, and what's fair. Is this true? Is this necessary? Most conversations quietly collapse the second you run them through this filter honestly. Gossip fails both questions every time. Complaints usually fail the second one completely. Speak less. Mean more of what you actually say. Marcus Aurelius governed one of the largest empires in history and still believed careless speech was beneath him. If an emperor with that much on his shoulders could filter his own words that carefully, the rest of us probably can too. Try it for one single conversation today. Watch how much shorter and how much stronger your sentences become. This isn't about becoming quiet or withdrawn. It's about making sure that when you do speak, it lands. People who speak carelessly get tuned out over time, even when they say something true. People who speak carefully get remembered. Silence isn't weakness in this framework. It's a filter most people never bother installing. You told yourself last night you'd wake up early. You hit snooze twice anyway. Nobody else saw it happen. But you did. And a small piece of trust in yourself quietly cracked in that moment. Every kept promise is a small deposit. Every broken one is a quiet withdrawal. Start keeping the tiny private promises first. That is where real self-respect actually gets built. Not in the big public wins everyone claps for. Think of self-trust like a bank account. Most people are running a serious deficit without ever realizing it, wondering why they don't believe themselves when it actually matters. Start making tiny deposits today. Say less. Follow through on all of it. Full credit where credit is genuinely due. A real apology the moment you know you were wrong. Fairness in the small moments nobody is watching is the entire quiet foundation of a strong character. The person who cuts corners on small things eventually cuts corners on the big things too. Practice justice in private, and it becomes automatic in public. Marcus Aurelius obsessed over fairness toward individual people, even while managing an entire empire. Not because it was strategic, because he understood that character isn't tested in the dramatic public moments everyone remembers. It's tested in the small transaction nobody's watching. Get those small moments right, and the big ones tend to take care of themselves. Justice here doesn't mean grand gestures. It means the ordinary transaction handled honestly when it would have been easier not to. We've covered the morning, the middle of your day, and how you treat other people. Now the final stretch. How you close the day out. 3 questions. What did I actually do right today? Where did I genuinely fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow because of it? Give it 5 honest minutes. No self-punishment and no excuses. This is exactly how ordinary experience slowly turns into real wisdom instead of just years quietly passing by unexamined. Most people just live day after day without ever checking whether they're actually getting better or simply getting older. They repeat the same mistake endlessly because they never pause long enough to learn from it. Seneca reviewed his own day this same way most nights of his life. No editing. No flattering himself. Most people avoid this because honesty with yourself can sting a little. But 5 minutes of gentle sting each night beats years of repeating the exact same mistake without ever noticing the pattern. You're not grading yourself. You're simply staying awake to your own life instead of sleepwalking through it. Most people only do this kind of review when something goes badly wrong. The Stoics did it every night, win or lose. That consistency is the actual skill. Someone wronged you today in some small or large way. Let it go tonight before your head hits the pillow. Not because they necessarily deserve your forgiveness. Because you don't deserve to carry their mistake into tomorrow morning with you. Forgive them. Forgive yourself too, for the moments today you didn't handle as well as you wanted to. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best response to someone who wronged you is simply refusing to become like them. Resentment feels like it's punishing the other person. It almost never is. It's quietly punishing you, every single night that you carry it back into bed with you. Letting go tonight isn't weakness. It's the harder and stronger choice by far. Anyone can hold a grudge. It takes almost no effort at all. Releasing one on purpose, every single night, is the actual discipline. Warm water from the tap, a good conversation you had earlier in the day, a body that still moves and carried you through today. This isn't gratitude journaling for the sake of feeling positive. Epictetus taught that a wise person doesn't grieve for what's missing. They notice what's already enough. That's a sharper standard than simply feeling thankful. It's deciding you already have what you need. Try naming your 3 tonight out loud instead of just thinking them. Something changes when the words actually leave your mouth. It stops being a passing thought and starts becoming a practiced habit your mind returns to on its own. Over time, this rewires what your mind reaches for first at the end of a hard day, not the complaint. The 3 things that were still good about it. This is the habit that quietly makes every single one above it automatic. Lay your clothes out tonight. Write down tomorrow's top 3 priorities before you sleep. Put the phone in another room before your head hits the pillow. Willpower is at its absolute weakest right after you first wake up, so stop relying on it. Build the environment tonight that makes tomorrow's best choice the easiest one available. The bonfire doesn't build itself while you sleep, but if you stack the wood tonight, striking the match tomorrow becomes almost effortless. This last habit isn't glamorous, but it's the quiet hinge everything else swings on. Every habit before it depends on tonight's small preparation to actually survive tomorrow's chaos. 21 habits. One simple thread running through all of them. Build tonight so tomorrow doesn't need luck to go well. At first, these habits will feel forced. Then one day you'll notice you're reacting differently without even thinking about it. That's the actual sign it's working. Not a countdown, not a calendar, just a quiet Tuesday where you catch yourself already doing the thing you used to have to force. That's not a promise about a timeline. It's a promise about direction. Every single habit on this list points the same way, toward a version of you that doesn't need perfect conditions to stay steady. The world will still be difficult. People will still disappoint you, but you'll meet it as someone built for it, instead of someone caught off guard by it. Pick one single habit from everything you just heard. Just one. Start tonight, not Monday. Tonight, if any part of this hits something true in you, type it in the comments below right now. I choose discipline. I'll see you in the next one.